The industry has found a way, right, to kind of subvert your natural biological drive. We had this desperate need for salt, sugar, fat, and so those are natural biological drives. It's a matter the industry has taken those same drives, turned it against us. Oh, you like sweet? How about some soda pop? Oh, you like salty? How about some chips? Oh, you like, fatty? Well, that's why we evolved this insatiable taste for sweet, right? And for fatty. Number one cause of death, bumping tobacco smoking to number two. Now, cigarettes only kill 500,000 Americans every year, whereas our diet kills hundreds of thousands more. So when you think about, physical inactivity, not getting enough exercise, smoking, all that ranks below diet. Processed foods, animal foods contribute to at least 14 million deaths every year. So those of us involved in this evidence-based nutrition revolution, we're talking about 14 million lives in the balance every year.
Across the Atlantic, Americans more obese than ever,
on
their way to death, more information than ever, more money than ever. Why aren't people listening?
Well, they're just confused. They don't know. And the industry wants it that way. This is a standard tobacco industry tactic. Muddy the water, misinformation, right? Such that, so one day coffee is good for you, one day coffee is bad for you. Time magazine put butter is back on the cover. It shows you how desperate they are for dwindling print sales, right? Sells a lot of copies, but sells the public short, right? And so people love hearing good news about bad habits, right? If someone comes out with a diet book saying, broccoli is really good for you, how many books is that going to sell, right? Someone comes out and says bacon and butter is really good for you. You got a bestseller on you. And the media loves those kind of stories, right? And so there's just these conflicting. And so the processed food industry, which is $1 trillion industry, they just hope to confuse people so they'll throw up their hands, eat whatever's put in front of them. That's good for business. But not so good for people.
Is it a conspiracy by these industries, or are they just looking in their best interest because they're just trying to maximize profits?
That's just the way the symptom works. The CEO of Coca-Cola doesn't say, how do I make kids fat today, right? It's like, no, it's how do I make my shareholders happy in this quarter, right? Short-term profits for shareholders, right? Even if that CEO said, I care about my kids, I'm not going to do this anymore, they'd be kicked out. That's the whole purpose of a corporation, maximize, return for their shareholders. How do you do that? Okay, well, you take something with dirt cheap ingredients, right? It's sugar water. In fact, sugar that's subsidized by U.S. taxpayers in the States, right? So it's artificially cheap sugar, and it's what? So it's what, a few pennies to make, and then you sell it for a few bucks a bottle? That's how you make money, right? But something like produce, fruits and vegetables, it's perishable. It goes bad. It rots on the shelf. You put a Twinkie, it can be on the shelf for a couple weeks. But you can't make money. It's not a branded product. There's no markup. So the healthiest foods, the system is just set up to reward companies selling people junk. And unfortunately, and even in the government level, we're subsidizing the worst foods. We're subsidizing sugar, subsidizing feed crops so we can have dollar menu burgers, whereas why aren't we subsidizing fruits and vegetables? So that's why we need to take control over our lives, over our family's health, and really kind of take it back. So the information is there, but unfortunately lost in this cloud of commercial influence. Those fatty foods, those salty foods are working against us, but of course that's what sells. But the good news is, so am I saying what? Oh, so I'm going to eat healthy, nothing's going to taste good? At first, that's true, right? The ripest peach in the world will taste sour after a bowl of Fruit Loops. It'll just, because your taste buds are just overwhelmed, right? You all of a sudden go on a low-salt diet, your doctor puts you on a low-salt diet, everything for the first week tastes like cardboard, right? But what you show, you can do these kind of metabolic ward studies, lock people in a room, actually, very tightly control what people eat. So you have people salt soup to their liking, and you measure how much salt they put in, and then you put them on a low-salt diet, and a few weeks later, they actually prefer less salt. And so you give them the soup that originally tasted the best. Oh, it's too salty. Oh, you don't like it, right? And so your taste buds naturally evolve. In fact, with sugar, it can happen as few as 5 days. You cut out these super sweet foods. Within 5 days, all of a sudden, natural, whole healthy foods taste good. People see me eat a sweet potato, a baked sweet potato with a little cinnamon sprinkled on top, and they're like, oh, I could never live that kind of aesthetic life. but they don't realize, no, that actually tastes good to me.
Right.
And in 5 days of not eating candy bars, it would actually taste good to them too. I mean, actually, I enjoy it. So you get the best of both worlds. Wait a second. It tastes good and you get to live longer, right? But you got to give it a chance to take back your taste buds from the industry that's trying to kind of super saturate them. I mean, that's why I encourage people to, give it a try. Right, try it as like a free sample. Right, anyone can eat anything for a few weeks. Right, in fact, you can eat nothing for a few weeks. I mean, so look, it's just, and so the thought of, wait a second, I can't eat pepperoni pizza for the rest of my life. Like, that's just mind blowing. People can't even consider that. And of course, that's not what I'm saying. But on a day-to-day basis, we want to eat healthy. But I said, no, give me 3 weeks. Right, so 3 weeks, let's eat healthy, and I'll give you all these tips. And 21 days, all of a sudden your taste buds are changing, the food is tasting better, and you're feeling better. And so all of a sudden, oh, your sleep is better. People are like, oh, you doing? Oh, I'm fine. I'm young, healthy, have no symptoms. Then they thought they didn't have symptoms. They're like, oh, my chronic indigestion went away. Like, I just thought that was normal to just always feel bloated and gross after a meal. Like, this just, but no, now, so my, bowel regulated, my periods are less painful. I mean, just like, they just feel so much better. And so then they have this internal motivation. No longer is it like, oh yeah, a few decades down the road, you're not gonna have a stroke or something, but it's this internal, wow, I feel so much better. But you don't know until you give it a try, right? You don't know how good you can feel until you give it a try. And then you have the internal motivation. Like, I feel better. Like, I don't care. So, and then all the science in the world, sort of like, well, I know how my body feels, and I feel better eating this way. And yeah, it's great that science shows it's going to reduce my risk of all this other stuff. But again, you don't know till you give it a try. So that's really what I encourage my patients to do.
Hey, take it easy. I'm out.